up, everybody? It's Chris. I'm back again with your FanDuel and DraftKings NBA DFS value plays for today, November 25th, 2016. Hopefully you're all well rested, have some full stomachs still from yesterday's feast, and you're ready to win some money. Today we got a massive slate, guys. 14 games. Everybody's on the board. It's going to be a fun day to build lineups. And hopefully try to take home some cash, with so many stars on the slate, you want to get them all in, and I don't know, it's been hard for me to juggle wanting to build 20 lineups and only playing a couple or three on slates like this, so we'll see what happens there with that, but I know for sure I'm going to be doing the split slates today. I really like that option. Morning slate, I think, or the day slate's got 6 games, and I think the night one's got 5. I can't remember how it breaks down, at least on DraftKings, but I'll be doing some of that as well as full slate for sure today just because of the options, and you gotta admit, it's a little addicting to build lineups, and when there's so many big stars on the board that you want to use, I like to do that. Values as well, they're everywhere, and obviously that's what we're here for today, is we're going to get into that. So yeah, as always, it's a little early, but keep eyes on injury reports, late scratches, all that sort of thing throughout the day, so you can make last-minute tweaks to your lineup, because you just never know what could happen. There's a few games that are projected for blowouts, possibly today, so that's something else to keep in the back of your mind. I don't know. The last few times I've been trying to fade blowout potential games, and it's kind of backfired, so I'm probably not going to completely pivot away from that today, but I definitely won't be going too high percentage ownership of games that are projected for blowouts. So today we are, like I said, on a very full slate, so let's just get right into it here. Point guard position today. That's gonna be a position I'm paying up for today. I'm just not gonna be probably plugging in too many value plays here, except for maybe utility or the second guard position on FanDuel, that sort of thing, but either way, we need to cover them, and there are some great options here. The first one is Elfrid Payton, the Magic against the Wizards today. He's 5,800 on DraftKings and the same price on FanDuel. The price is good. He's been one of my favorite plays in DFS night in, night out, just because he's consistent. He's averaging 25.9 DK points a game and about 30 minutes a game. So he's, consistency is always good for value play. You want a guy who's on the court a lot and does quite a bit with the offense. And this game's, supposed to be a low-scoring game. So that's a little worrisome with Payton, but his minutes should be a lock either way. And if you don't like the low Vegas lines, you could look at Derrick Rose, who I also think is in a great spot today in a higher scoring game. He's the same price, so Elfrid Payton, Derrick Rose. I think you can toggle if you're more of a risk taker. Maybe look towards Payton. If you want a safer play in a high scoring game, I guess Derrick Rose is a good option. But Payton is averaging over a fantasy point a minute, and he's facing John Wall, who's a pretty stout defender. But like I said, he's safe. He's got a safe floor without an extremely high ceiling. So if you're looking for, a value play point guard with a, 4 or 5x value for sure, Payton makes a good option tonight. Let's see. Looks like he's projected on the optimizer for 32.3 DraftKings points and 28.4 FanDuel points. So that's not a bad option at that price, 5,800. The other point guard I'm looking at is Emmanuel Mudiay, the Nuggets versus the Thunder. Westbrook's an elite player, but he's not an elite defender. So Mudiay should have plenty of opportunities here, and maybe he'll try to keep up with Westbrook somehow. I mean, you never know. But this game, I don't know. Mudiay's far riskier than Derrick Rose and Elfrid Payton. So if you're looking at GPP and looking for a punt or a really cheap option there, Mudiay, you could do worse. I mean, he's a roller coaster ride. He has plenty of duds, and he has plenty of really good games. So either way, I like this matchup quite a bit. The Thunder ranked 21st in DVP against the point, and they're allowing 51 fantasy points to that position. So Mudiay His usage is only about 15%, but that's not terrible. And with averaging, just under a fantasy point a minute, he's also a relatively safe value play at the point guard. Um, like I said, I'm probably going to be paying up for this position for the most part and using values at shooting guard and possibly the power forward position today, but we'll keep plugging along. So the shooting guard, I'm liking two guys quite a bit here. The first one is Darren Collison. I had him in last week's or Wednesday's value plays, and he did what we expected of him. He played consistent minutes, and he got plenty of points, so he easily met value. And I can see the same tonight. He's playing Houston. Rockets are actually ranked 5th in DVP, which is a little surprising against the shooting guard, but they're still allowing 51 points to the position. So the DVP doesn't scare me too much in this case. Collison, he's only scored less than 25 DK points over his last 6 games once. He's getting a lot of minutes, 32 plus, and he's averaging .96 fantasy points a minute. So you add that up and you have pretty close to a 30-point lock every night on DK. And 28 points projected on FanDuel tonight. Collison's price, he's at $5,600 on DK, and he's a little more expensive on FanDuel, $6,100. So the DK price hasn't quite caught up to him yet. So on DK, I think he's a lock for me at the shooting guard. FanDuel may juggle in a little bit, probably won't use him as heavily at that price. The other option I'm looking at is Monta Ellis on the Pacers versus the Nets. I think Ellis makes a great value pick tonight. It's one of the higher projected scores for games of the night. Should be pretty fast-paced. And the Pacers are projected to put up 112 points. The Nets are ranked 24th in DVP. And Ellis is averaging just under a fantasy point a minute, .84. So 5,200 on DK, 5,200 on FanDuel. You definitely could do a lot worse than Ellis. And Ellis is just kind of, his role is expanding with each game as he gets more adjusted and all the injuries to the Pacers. You just need to monitor that, find out who's playing, who's not, if Miles is in, George, all those guys, because that could greatly impact Ellis's use. If any of those guys are out, Ellis will definitely pick up a bigger role in that offense tonight. And those points got to come from somewhere. So, he's playing 33 minutes a game. So, he should be pretty safe. And the optimizer projects him at 27.7 DraftKings points and 24.8 FanDuel. So, again, he's another cheaper option who should easily meet 4 or 5x for you with a higher ceiling than that. So, Monta Ellis. All right, small forward. This guy finally blew up, last on Wednesday. And I'm going back to the well with him again this week against Chicago. Robert Covington, the 76ers against the Bulls. He's only 4,000 on DraftKings and 4,400 on FanDuel. As we all know from the beginning of the season, he's definitely not consistent. He had a few duds. He just did not start off too well. But Wednesday he finally came through and just absolutely crushed his projections. So today I think he's in a good spot here. He's playing 30 minutes of court time, averaging .85 fantasy points a minute. So he's a somewhat safe play, I think, either way. And he can just fill in all the categories. He's not just a point scorer. But those buckets, when they fall, you'll get a turnout like he did have on Wednesday. And, when you look at the Sixers lineup so far, it looks like Embiid's already scratched. So they're going to need offense from other areas today without Embiid playing. So I think Covington is going to ride that hot streak, and I'm willing to chase the points today. I'm not going to lie here. So the DraftKings projection is 25.5, and FanDuel has them at 22.8 points. So at 4,400 on FanDuel and 4,000 on DK, that's over a 6x value here. So Covington, I really like him. Great spot tonight. He's gonna be my number one option here at small forward. Another one though is PJ Tucker. I really like him as well tonight against Minnesota. Sounds like he may even start, which is that's kind of exciting because he's been doing very well off the bench even this year. But if he's starting, he might be in an even better spot. And Andrew Wiggins isn't a great defender if that's who's covering him. So at 3,700 on DraftKings, 3,800 on FanDuel. It's very cheap, near minimum. Tucker, he's facing the Wolves, and as I said, they're not great defenders. DVP of 30, so against that position, Tucker's playing 29 minutes off the bench. So if he starts, like I said, it could boost up a little bit, 4 or 5 extra minutes, and he's averaging 0.8 fantasy points a minute. So you're looking at around 28, 30 points for a ceiling if he plays consistently. And he's another guy who doesn't just score. He does a lot of the rebounds and steals and assists, categories like that. So the point should be there tonight, especially against the Wolves. And keep an eye on that starting lineup. If he's starting, I think you almost have to play him in some capacity tonight. They have him projected right now for 23.2 on DraftKings and 21.2 on FanDuel. So again, at 3,000, 700 in that range, that's another 6x player you're looking at. So sign me up. Power forward, this guy, I'm only listing one, but this guy is an absolute lock for me. Terrence Jones, he's facing Portland tonight. They're ranked 18th in DVP, which isn't terrible, but they're averaging 46 or allowing 46.1 DK points to the position of power forward. The thing about Jones is he may start tonight alongside Davis, and we've just seen what he's done all season off the bench. He just can completely dominate. He's been a surprising nice play, averaging 1.3 fantasy points a minute, and he's averaging about 28 minutes. So tonight, if that minute tick goes up again, just kind of like Covington and Tucker, he's in a really good shape. So if this case, he needs to be in your lineups. I mean, 5,100 on FanDuel, 5,800 on DK. His price has gone up a little bit, but at this price for that kind of output at power forward, it's going to allow you to boost up power point guard, your small forward position, get a guy like Jimmy Buckets in there at shooting guard or small forward. So yeah, Terrence Jones, I think he's probably going to be my most heavily owned player today in my lineups, and he makes a nice value play at that power forward position. And to wrap it up, we'll look at the center position. I'm thinking Mason Plumlee in that same game, but on the other side, Portland against the Pelicans. He's 5,300 on FanDuel and 5,400 on DraftKings. Pelicans are actually similar to the Wolves, where they're ranked 30th in DVP against the center position, allowing a whopping 52.9 points. So Plumlee is obviously not a dominant center, not a overpowering guy, but with that kind of DVP and that kind of advantage, Plumlee should be in a pretty good spot, I think. There's so many centers to choose from tonight that it's kind of hard to go cheap. But if you do want to add one, or possibly even at your utility slot on DraftKings, something like that, kind of go for a cheaper option. I think Plumlee is in a really good spot tonight. He's averaging over a point a minute, 1.09 fantasy points a minute to be exact. And let's see, the optimizer here has got him projected at 6x value, 32.7 fantasy points on DraftKings and 31.2 on FanDuel. So yeah, 5,400, 5,300 on FanDuel. It's a reasonable price and good value here tonight. So with that, I wish you guys all the best of luck and hope you have a great Friday. Enjoy this big slate. And if you decide to split up your slates, like I'm going to for sure, good luck to you in both ways. And yeah, just have fun with these lineups, guys. So many games. Should be a good night. All right, we'll talk to you later.